Hey friends, I'm back at home. No more lovely quilted, handcrafted backdrop. Although I have one I can hang in here. Maybe that's coming soon to a video post near you. But we've kind of wrapped up the holiday rush. Looks like we might get another day of family fun out of things tomorrow, but basically the holidays are sort of winding down. I mean, even though we haven't had New Year's yet, it feels like, I mean, I leave town on New Year's Day, so it's kind of unbelievable that we're there, but we are. And I've had a day of, again, a bit of softness, a bit of emotion. Now I feel like I'm careening towards departure. I have a few days left, and it's really plenty of time to get packed and get set. But it doesn't feel like plenty of time to say goodbye, to say bye-bye. And there's something clearly interesting happening, because I'm going to see them in 2 weeks. Katie and Annalise are coming to Houston in 2 weeks. But somehow what I'm feeling is not the 2 weeks before I see them again, but the whole 2+ months, 2 months plus a week. It's like 9 weeks total that I'm going to be not home. And just tracking that still. I had an interesting meditation this morning, and I felt so. One thing that happened this morning, I realized. So yesterday morning, I woke up kind of late. We'd stayed up chatting and whatnot, and I woke up a little later than usual, and I was gonna go start I was just getting out of bed to start my morning routine, and Annalise woke up with me. And so in other words, I didn't really get my morning routine quite as I had been hoping to. So we went downstairs, and I did a little bit of qigong, and I did my morning exercises. I often, when Annalise wakes up early like that, I often I can't do the same amount of either qigong or meditation that I do regularly, but I do a little bit, and I kind of like make it something that we do together, or I make it something where she at least knows I'm doing it, and kind of entertains herself for a little while. And yesterday morning, Roman woke up. Her cousin Roman also woke up, and so he was around, and they kind of played together. And then Claudia woke up, her other cousin, and so they played together. And I had the kids for a little while, just kind of helping them with a puzzle and whatever they wanted to do. But the upshot of it was, I never used my meditation timer, which I had been using religiously. I didn't track either my qigong, and I didn't actually sit and meditate yesterday morning. I didn't actually get to. I did my qigong routine, and I didn't sit down and meditate. I got pulled into whatever it was the kids were asking me to do. And I woke up this morning, and I realized that I broke a streak of over 500 days of using my meditation app. So my meditation, and it actually counts either one, whether it's qigong or meditation. It counts it in the app, just that you've used the app. I had a 500+ day streak going, which then broke. I was down to 0 this morning, and I was like, whoa, I can't believe it slipped my mind. I'd even done my exercises yesterday, but I just didn't turn on the timer. So and it was really interesting because I've been talking about, recently the fact that, especially with the James Clear perspective on habits, it not getting too attached to our streaks. Of course, maintaining a streak can be really good motivation, and it can be really good. It can be empowering. It can keep us on track. It can kind of keep us in the pocket because we don't want to break a streak. I was like, I don't know how long I'm going to keep this streak going. 500 plus days. That's pretty good. And I couldn't believe it. When I woke up this morning, I was like, whoa, that just went by me. The day somehow I just missed it in the morning. And usually I've had it happen that I Annalise wakes up or whatever, something happens in the morning, I interrupt my routine and I don't quite get to it. But I've always remembered throughout the day to just, sit for 5 minutes or sit for 10 minutes and put my timer on, or do a little qigong and put my timer on. I hadn't had one where I spaced on doing the timer at all. And it was really interesting because at first I was kind of bummed that I'd broken the streak. And then I realized that I'd sort of gotten attached to the streak. And it was almost like because there were a couple times when I really kind of made a token gesture of meditating for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, some very, small amount of time, mainly so that I would not break the streak. And what came through this morning as I kind of realized, oh, well, there goes that. Starting over at 1 day now, I realized that there's actually an opportunity, and I felt it pretty quickly upon the heels of being disappointed. I immediately felt, oh, this is actually an opportunity to reframe what the practice is for myself, to reaffirm my commitment to it, and to remove the motivation that was coming from just maintaining the streak, and reinvigorate the motivation which is much deeper than that, and actually is about what I'm accessing with the practice, and what the practice is actually all about. What's really going on. What am I really doing when I sit down to meditate? And because I realized that in maintaining the streak, I've been very committed to my meditation. It's not that. It's just that there was this additional layer of kind of, and I'm keeping this streak going. And that was kind of clouding what the practice was really about. It was kind of clouding what was really going on. So this morning, I sat and I was sitting in meditation, and I was letting myself, I was just basically starting over. I was kind of like, well, let's say that I'm reframing. Let's say that was a good run, and now I'm starting a new chapter of my meditation. What do I want that to be about? What do I really want to infuse this practice with? What am I really doing here? And I found myself in a really beautiful way connecting with two things. There were two incredibly prominent experiences or features of what I was feeling this morning. The first was space. I also happened to be meditating in my parents' kind of ante room to their bedroom, which right now looks like a bomb hit it. There's a bunch of people's bags dropped in there. There's a clothes rack in there for someone's drying clothes because the house is bursting at the seams because all these people are in it. So I'm kind of like, I've been doing an open eye meditation, a meditation where I simply look at the floor in front of me, or look kind of, at the wall 6 feet away or whatever, but eyes open, because that's what Chogyam Trungpa has encouraged. It's what Madeline it's a meditation that Madeline introduced me to, and it replaced my previous closed eyes meditation. But today, because I was looking at all this clutter, I was like, maybe I just want to close my eyes today. Maybe I don't want to maybe I want to actually close my eyes. So I did. And I found myself, of course, there was a bit of mental activity. There's mind stuff coming in, thoughts, blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't super attached to any of the thoughts. And I felt two things coming through. One was space. There was just a space. Like as I sit and become conscious of consciousness, there was just a space, that the space of infinite no thingness was just available. And as I would drift, I would come back to it. I would drift and come back to it. And it was palpable. It was a kind of enlivened experience of that space. Number two was there was a light in the space. It was like every time I came back to consciousness from being in thought, it was like there's a light shining. I could literally feel a light shining into the space or throughout the space. It was really interesting. It was a kind of, they talk about the light of consciousness. We know that consciousness is a light. But to really feel it as the center point, it was almost like there's a lighthouse in the middle of my being, and I would kind of reach out into the distance and then come back to it, and I kept coming, but I really felt it shining. It was almost like there was a physical, visible light in my awareness as I sat, and that I could reliably come back to. And it was just really cool because I felt like, okay, maybe this streak broke for a reason. Maybe this, because it was obviously accidental. I didn't do that on purpose, but maybe it broke for a reason. Maybe that happened for a specific, to help me reframe the experience of meditation and to help me go deeper. And I found it odd how quickly that thought hit me upon realizing that I'd broken the streak. I found it odd how quickly that converted into, oh, this is an opportunity. That was fun. That was just, felt good to feel that. So yeah, that was kind of my realization of the day. And, I think it speaks to that reality of everything is always serving us. I wouldn't have thought that breaking my rhythm in meditation or breaking my rhythm of tracking my practice would feel so good, that it would feel genuinely like an opportunity. I would think that I would have thought that I would have to kind of whitewash things to make it feel good. I'd have to sort of pep talk myself or do a reframe. But I didn't have to. It just naturally was like, no, this is what's going on here. Okay, now go sit in it. Because this morning I had a nice long time. I only slept pretty late. And I got up a little earlier. And so I had a nice, a little bit of exercise time and then a nice long time to sit. So who knows why we break streaks? Who knows why we drop balls, right? Who knows why we get knocked off the horse? But we can always get back on, and there's almost always, that next round, there may be a reason for it. That's what I'm receiving today from this experience. So thank you, folks. I love you, appreciate you. You're a huge part of my life. I'll see you tomorrow.